Radhe Nitinji. What is the real birthday? Yeah, but the real birthday yesterday or some other day? Real date, sometime.
Whatever works for you. Okay.
Yesterday was the real day.
Yesterday. Yeah, it's on 9th.
Sometime,
Okay. Yeah.
Sometime there's a different day celebration or 2 days here and there. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I would prefer no celebration, but now the secret is out. Okay, so Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Today we are going to do our recap quiz, the poll-based quiz that we do, and then we will touch upon the topic of why this antagonism, where did this stem from? What are the roots or the genesis of antagonism between science and spirituality? I think it will require a couple of more sessions to conclude our discussion, but we'll see how far we can go today. So let me share my screen and we will get started. Let me know when you're able to see my screen. Okay, you're able to see that?
Yes.
Great. So let's get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening to all of you. So let's get started. Today we have a hard stop at 10, so we will pace it accordingly. Okay, so today we have a poll-based quiz, and we are also going to talk about this antagonism, as you can see, between science and spirituality. What is the genesis for that? Where did it start from? And all that stuff. So let's get started. I think Rahul, you can put out the poll quiz today and we can talk through that. And while we wait for people to join in, I would encourage all of you to participate and let's share the poll. We are going to do a quick recap of some of the key concepts that we have been talking about. And like always, Rahul has done a fantastic job to put together the questions. So what do you, Rahul? Great.
Let me know once you can see the questions.
Yes, we can see that. The 5 questions are out there. All right, so over to the participants. Please start keying in your responses. We will have a bit of a discussion and then we will get into our science and spirituality topic as well.
All the questions are based on true love, which was discussed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So it's a Valentine's special quiz then, right? Great. That's why I'm wearing red today. So while we are waiting, I wanted to tell you that we have Phoolon Ki Holi this weekend here at Arkiti Temple. It is a Barsana style Holi without lut, just the flowers. So you can come and enjoy and soak yourself in that wonderful ambience that we are going to have in the temple. You can also catch the action online. Okay, the holy celebrations. It is going to be followed by a concert with Hari Anand and Aditi Singh Sharma. That will be for the locals who will come in because it's in our CIC new building. But Phoolon Ki Holi is something you would really like to come and be a part of that celebration. It's going to be a unique event. So that's what I wanted to tell you. Okay, I see responses have started flowing in. Only 9% so far. So please do take this opportunity to revise your concepts. We'll have a little bit of a discussion so that the concepts are very clear, what we have spoken about, and then we'll proceed further. So Holi, like I said, it's an event not to be missed. If you are in and around temple, just come over and join us on the Holi fun. And then afterwards, we have, if you've not purchased your tickets, do get your tickets for the concert that we are going to have with Hari Anand and Aditi Singh Sharma. So this is a key event that is coming up for this weekend. Also on Sunday, we have Holi event at Houston. So if you are in Dallas or around Houston, you can come over and join the festivities there. A lot of people are traveling from Dallas to Houston to help out with the sevas, various sevas there. So that's another opportunity for you to come and participate in that event. And Hari Anand, Aditi, Singh Sharma will be there as well. And other than that, we have a YTT, right? Event coming up from March 17th. Prem Yoga training.
Just one thing, I guess for Phoolo Ki Holi, it's also online stream, so people can also attend and
You can
like
attend
enjoy
online,
the
yeah.
comfort of home.
Do join the festivities virtually with us. It's going to be a fun event. And then we have a daily satsang in case you're not aware of it. If every day 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. we have a daily satsang going on here at Radha Krishna Temple. So it's a great thing to add to your routine. You know, it's a satsang where you can immerse yourself in kirtans. Then there is a segment of lecture of Swamiji, right? And then we have a meditation segment as well. So it's a very good capsule you can take every day of devotion. So do avail that opportunity. I think it will be from Monday, it will be 5:30 morning. Right now it's 6:30 for you, 5:30 in the morning. And that leads me to tell another thing that from Monday evening, that is Tuesday morning, the session will move one hour further, not further, earlier, because the daylight saving is going to come into effect. That means we will get 1 hour less to sleep, but that means you'll have to start your day 1 hour early if you want to join this session. So hopefully that will help with your schedule better than your current one, because I know 8:30 to 9:30 becomes office time and a lot of other things. So just wanted to announce that as well. I'll go to reiterate that. But daily satsangs, that's a wonderful routine to get into. So if you can join, that will be great. Please do avail that opportunity. What else? We wanted to show something as well while we are waiting for everybody. I think 31 out of 47. So people are still joining. We can give them probably another 3-4 minutes. Is there anything you wanted to show, Sandhya, while we are waiting and people are putting in their responses?
Yes, I'll start sharing. Just give me a minute. Yeah.
So please do answer the questions on the quiz and test your understanding. We are going to have a little bit of a discussion on this topic to recap the concepts.
In the chat, the links of the Phoolo Ki Holi, that live celebration, that link is already there in the chat. And apart from that, the certified yoga teacher program, it starts from March 17th to April 20th. Yeah, that is also there in the chat.
Yeah, and that can be done virtually, right?
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of people have undergone that training. It's about 200 hours of training and really well worth it. All right, I think Sandhya is showing something. So we have a beautiful Insta post doing the rounds right now, created by none other than our wonderful team of devotees and participants here at Daily Wisdom. So let's show it. We can play that while we are waiting, and you can continue to go through the questions. I still see a lot of scope for people to participate. So as they are joining, go ahead, Sandhya.
I'll start playing. Yeah.
Let's put the link for it as well. Please do encourage, like, share, comment this post. Okay.
Kabir ridiculed those who showed hatred in the name of religion. Because of his controversial teachings, Kabir was tried in the court of Sikandar Lodi, who was the Mohammedan ruler of Delhi. However, he was able to survive all the punishments and was released subsequently. One day, a fakir came to see Kabir. Kabir tied a dirty pig to the door of his house to prevent him from entering. As the fakir believed that pigs were unclean, he turned away. Kabir then exclaimed, "You are turning away because I have tied an unclean pig to the door. But you have tied unclean thoughts born of greed, anger and jealousy in your heart." Hearing this, the fakir fell at Kabir's feet and became his follower. Kabir's works have been collected in a book called the Bijak, which has 3 categories: Sakhi, Sabad and Ramani. The Sakhis deal with the experience of the soul in the world. These couplets are popular even today as Kabir ke Dohe. The Sabads are songs that deal with the relationship of God with the soul and the means to attain God, and Ramani appears to have been based on Saint Tulsidas' Ramayana. The fifth Guru of the Sikhs, Guru Arjan Dev, included over 500 verses of Kabir in the sacred Guru Granth Sahib. Historians believe that Sant Kabir lived over 100 years and died in 1518 AD, but some think that he died around 1448 AD. At that time, it was widely believed that if one died in Kashi, one would attain liberation. However, before leaving his body, Kabir left Kashi and went to Maghar. He wished to instruct his disciples that the purity of the heart was important for salvation and not the place of death. His death brought about a conflict between his Muslim and Hindu followers who quarreled over whether he should be given a burial or a cremation. As they removed the sheet covering Kabir's body, they were astonished to find flowers instead of the body. While one half of the flowers were taken by his Hindu disciples, the other half was taken by his Muslim followers. Even today, Kabir's Samadhi and tomb stand side by side.
श्रीमुख चंद्र चकोर जय जय देव हरे।
Wonderful. Thank you for showing that, Sandhya. So hope rest of you are able to take the quiz. We'll probably give 1 minute to wrap up and then the countdown and we'll get started. So this is a beautiful series on Saints of India created by none other than the volunteers here on this team, Daily Wisdom Seva teams. As you can see, pretty amazing, right? The series, Meera, Bai, and all the Saints of India, it's based on the book that Swamiji has written. So do encourage the participants. You can go in, like, share, comment, and basically devour the nectar of beautiful creations that they're doing on Insta right now. Great. So we have about 71% have responded. I'll probably give another few seconds and then we will get started with our session. So again, welcome all of you. If you've not taken the poll, please wrap it up quickly and we are going to get started with our discussion. I'm going to share my screen and talk about some of these topics just to do a recap and make sure that the concepts are very, very clear. No doubts whatsoever on those. Okay, so the first question that is posed is, I did this for you, so it's your turn to do this for me. This sentiment points towards, again, a split verdict. Nobody said all of the above, which is good. Somebody said true love. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to come forward and explain why you think it's true love. Somebody said lust, 2 of you, and majority said business. And the answer is correct. So this is what we had spoken about. There are 3 possibilities, right? When we withdraw, that is called lust. Okay, this is the lowest sentiment and further away from a spiritual goal that one should have. And when we keep on withdrawing from an ATM, what happens? Finally, you exhaust. And then there's nothing more to withdraw. So that is the lust part of it. I did this for you, so you need to do this. This is Vyapar. That is where 99% of the world operates. You keep on making deposits and withdrawals and strike a balance. If you start withdrawing more than deposits, the relationship will start having some kind of a friction. And if you keep on depositing more than withdrawing, that's a good point to be in. But then as long as you don't think that, you are always giving, because if you start having that feeling, again, the friction will come unless you have hit the sweet spot with regards to depositing and withdrawing. And the third one is only making deposits, not because of an expectation that you will going to make a big withdrawal down the line. No, you're making deposit because that's your nature. Okay, that is giving. Okay, that is the highest sentiment. Now, the next question is, so the business one is correct. Hope it's clear it's not true love. Definitely not true love, because if it was true love, then there's no condition applied to it. Okay, that I did this for you and now you need to do. That is called Vyapar or transaction. Same thing happens when we go to a temple and ask God, okay, God, I'm doing this, I'm putting this prasad, laddus for you, and can I have this in return? So it's essentially that sentiment is also that of Vyapar. So in the worldly relationships, as long as the deposits and the credits, withdrawals, they maintain a balance, the relationship is kind of healthy. And that happens with a lot of maturity and wisdom between two people. Otherwise, what happens in relationship, it is imbalance, a little imbalanced. And when the imbalance happens, the friction happens. Then you start complaining. Okay, the person is always like that. I am always giving and the other person is always taking. Take is anyway, it doesn't happen for too long. That relationship will crumble. It's just a matter of time. Or somebody might be in an exploitative state. Like, for example, a lot of countries, they got their independence because it was a take kind of a relationship. So after a while, it crumbled. Even the Syrian uprising that happened, big dictatorships, they also fall. Why? Because it is authoritative, take kind of a thing, right? And that's why even for businesses, it is important to have the larger good in mind. If they don't have it, then it's just a matter of time before they start getting bad name. So even if you look at a lot of multinationals that come to India now, they have understood that part, right? So people said that they are depleting our groundwater resources or this and that. So now they've created initiatives like CSR, corporate social responsibility, where not only they are taking from the society with regards to their profits, but giving back something as well in form of economic growth, employment, and other things. So in the world, as long as you're maintaining that balance, it is a good spot to be in. If you're not maintaining that balance, it's not. But true love goes about just giving. And in this world, it is not possible. It can happen only if we need to cultivate that sentiment only for God and Guru. But in this world, it's a good strategy to make more deposits and less withdrawals. The relationships will remain more healthy and people will not complain at that point. The next one, the question that is posed is, true love is largely dependent on the behavior of the beloved, but keeps on fluctuating, increasing and decreasing. So the question, the answer is true, false, maybe. Okay, all three are in play. Interesting. So the answer is, it's not dependent on the behavior of the beloved. So the definition of true love is, in spiritual sense, is sarvatha vidhvans rahitam. You don't fluctuate, go up and down. Today I love you, tomorrow I don't. Today I love you more, yesterday I'm not. I've fallen in love, I've fallen out of love. No, it doesn't work that way. So true love is actually, it is another definition of that is eternal forgiveness. It does not fluctuate. That it is increasing. Yesterday it was there and today it's decreasing. And the true test of true love is when you have a reason for it to be shattered and yet it is not shattered. So it does not fluctuate. Okay, that is what true love is. Now in material world, it is not possible because we are not yet there. However, if you look at aspiration standpoint, goal standpoint, we know in our scriptures, there are a lot of stories around that, especially the love of gopis, nishkam prem, where they are loving the beloved for the sake of the beloved. So love, true love is when you love the beloved for the sake of beloved. We are not used to it. We do it for our own pleasure, and it is depending upon the other person's behavior also. If the other person starts behaving rudely and badly, the love will evaporate. Okay, the swords will be out. And that is why it is a mercy of God that we don't have siddhis of reading each other's minds. If that would have been the case, then the world would be at war. Two people, two friends meeting, spouses, if they can understand what's going on in other person's mind, the world will come to a war. So the true love, however, it's a much deeper concept. It is not dependent on the behavior of the person. It's like an eternal forgiveness, and you love the other person for the sake of their happiness, not for your own sake. Okay. So that is the concept. So the right answer is false, which majority of you got it right, which is fantastic. Hope this concept is clear now, because some people said maybe and true as well. That's not the case. Our SEVA acronym contains some of the most important virtues of true love. That's nice. Multiple choice. So let's see how many of you remember it. We are going to show the dashboard as well today. So I think that we are getting good long bars on all four, which is a good sign. 39, 26, 25, 30. I mean, 39, 39 in all would have been a best response. Yes, selflessness, nishkam, enthusiastic, vinamar, ananya. So if you look at the four teams that we had formed, basically this is how it goes. So all four are correct: selfless, enthusiastic, vinamr, and ananya. These are the four teams. These all four are key ingredients when we do seva. We need to be selfless. It's not for our sake, it's the sake for God and Guru. We need to be enthusiastic. Inspiration is the fuel that is needed for us to do seva. If there is no inspiration, you are like, okay, chalta hai, attitude, okay, ye bhi theek hai, wo bhi theek hai. It's okay, I'm busy, I'll do it some other day. Or my life is too busy right now. Once I'm settled, then I'll take care of it. So that kind of attitude would be there. So enthusiasm is very important when we do seva. Vinamrata, politeness is important as well. Humility is important on this path. We shouldn't develop a pride that, I'm doing that. Unless we are Hanumanji, who had a pride that I'm working for Ram Bhagwan. Till we reach that stage, it's important to stay humble. And Ananyatya is included as well, because little bit of this, little bit of that, then we start digging multiple wells, and none of it we are able to do justice properly because that focus is not there. It's just like scattered rays of sunlight. Unless you take them through a lens, you cannot really concentrate them. So Ananyatya is very important as well on this path. So this is the correct one. Majority of you have signed all 4, which is good again. So moving on, true love is somewhat dependent on the qualities of the beloved. So majority said false, which is right. Maybe and true are there as well. No, it says guna rahitam. Narad Bhakti Darshan says guna rahitam, because when you are dependent upon the quality, then you are in love with the quality, not that person. And that is why when God descends, he's not showing magic around. Okay, chamatkars and all that stuff and trying to impress people, because then people will get impressed with his qualities, not with God. So it is guna rahitam. That is why, you would be seeing a lot of film stars when they are at the peak, people are drooling over them and going bonkers. And when they are past their prime, nobody cares for them. Same thing happens for people who are at the higher posts, ministers, chief ministers, prime ministers. When they become common man, nobody cares. Why? Because you actually were saluting not those people, you were saluting the position or that good that they have at that point in time. So depending upon the qualities, it is actual bhakti or unalloyed devotion to God is guna rahitam. It's like, all right, like Parvati said, right? Somebody said, why are you marrying this guy who puts ashes all over his body and wears scorpions as his adornments? Parvati said that, why don't you go for Narayan? He's so handsome, good looking and stuff. He said, no. She said, no. For you, we may be like that, but I'm in love with this guy only, no matter how he looks. So I'm not going after the qualities. I'm in true. That is true love, actually. But when you go with qualities, what happens when the qualities vanish? Love also vanishes. So that is the definition of true love. And then last question is, Tat Sukh Sukhitvam. True love is the happiness of the beloved, has been reiterated in Narad Bhakti Darshan. Maybe true. So there are, and then maybe and false. Anybody who's giving this answers here just for the sake of fun, or otherwise you can come forward and we can have a good discussion. But yes, Tat Sukh Sukhitvam. TSS is an important concept that we have spoken about, right? Okay, anyways, this is Antakaran Shuddhi stuff I have put in. But this Tat Sukh Sukhitvam, we have spoken about this concept. In your happiness lies my happiness. This is the concept of true love. We are not used to it. Everything that we do, we are doing it actually for our own happiness. See, even when we go and start feeding somebody, you see, when you go to India, less people die with hunger, more people die with overeating. And then people start serving them 1 more puri, 10 more puris, 3 more puris. Okay, I prepared it with so much of love. Now the question here is, are you doing it for their sake or for your own sake? So our mind is so habituated of seeking happiness for self that it manifests in different ways. Even with Guruji, we do the same. Okay, Swamiji, people keep feeding him puris. We don't understand. He's traveling throughout the year. He's at the mercy of whatever we feed him. So rather than taking care of his health, giving him something, for our own sake, for our own happiness, we prepare stuff and then we look at, when is he going to have it? So that wiring needs to be changed when it comes to Tat Sukh Sukhitvam concept. It's not something which comes naturally to us. Right? And when we overfeed people and if they don't eat and then we become upset. Now, who are we? Whose happiness are we seeking is the question that needs to be asked. So that rewiring is essentially we learn through understanding the higher principles of spirituality because they don't come naturally to us. So with that, we come to the end of the poll, and thank you, Rahul, for creating poll, beautiful poll like you always do, which encapsulates the learnings and the key discussions we have had. Any questions on this so far before we move further? I hope this concept of true love is clear. We will do it every Valentine, okay? So that we are all on the same page with regards to true love, because we have a tendency to forget. Okay. And we all forget, keep on forgetting. So I need a revision as well. So we'll keep on reiterating it every Valentine or otherwise. What is true love? Because love is most used, abused, and overly used term in this world, and loosely used term as well. So it's important to understand, because love is a very important emotion, governing emotion on the path of devotion, that needs to be not only understood but properly channelized, because God is also seeking our love only. That is the only thing he does not have. Otherwise, he is supremely independent. He has everything. What can we offer to him? Nothing other than the love. Okay, the choice or choosing God is the only thing we can offer him. And that is the whole game of devotion and spirituality. Yes, Rahul, you had a question?
No, just wanted to add that if somebody is more interested in learning about true love, then Narad Bhakti Darshan Sutra number 54 has the clear-cut definition which Nitinji has showed in the slides.
That's Sukhitam, yeah. Very nice. Thank you. Okay. So love is the governing emotion, not only in this world, but in spirituality as well, especially if you are seeking the topmost prize. But if you're happy becoming Brahmaleen, if you're happy controlling your breath and becoming self-realized alone, then you don't need all these things. But if you want to go further and topmost prize of God and making God your slave, then love is the emotion that needs to be understood and dovetailed towards God, right? Emotion, because it's an emotional practice and we are used to emotions for the world, but when it comes to God, that has to be nurtured, because it will not come naturally. How do we nurture it? With proper knowledge. The more knowledge we get about somebody, the more our affinity increases towards that person, especially when we start understanding that person or entity can fulfill our self-interest. And when we simply have that proper understanding and we believe that, love will automatically manifest. All right, so now let's move on to our topic that we have been talking about. So Tatsuk Sukhitam, we did that. So we have on the shloka. No need to raise hand today. We're not going to let participant recite because we have stuff to cover today. And then move on, because this is shloka that we have been referring to. I'll bring in two more, by the way, to conclude our discussion on science and spirituality. Okay, one is the field of activities that we operate in, another is the knower of the field. Okay, that is another shloka I will bring in maybe the next week sessions. So for this one, we will continue on this one because we've been having this discussion, fascinating discussion. And today I'm going to talk about, okay, a quick recap and then talk about why this antagonism, where did it stem from, what is the genesis of that, and whether it has some justification or it is completely misplaced. Okay, so let me recite it quickly and then we'll move forward with our discussion. Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu khammano buddhireva cha ahamkariti yam me bhinna prakritirashtadha. So this one is Lord Krishna saying that earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intellect, and ego, they are 8 components of my material energy. We saw that they're not just 8, there are 24 entities actually. Gyanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Panch Tanmatras, and Panch Mahabhut as well, if you include all of those. And they are nothing but his material energy. Okay. Oh my God, we got an attention today. So now that all of you are here, so please take care of this attention that, the sun is going to, I think the tilt or something is changing, because of which we will be deprived of 1 hour of sleep in the morning. I'm not very happy about it. Hopefully they are going to pass a bill and make it permanent or otherwise. But fact of the matter is, because of whatever is happening, which we have little control over, right? Sun, moon, Hiranyakashyap was the only guy who had control over sun and tilt and everything. None of us have. So it's going to happen and it is inevitable. So what it means is you'll have to start your day a little early. If you want to join our sessions, which I'm sure you would. So 7:30 is when it will start, Tuesday mornings. And Monday evening, depending upon your time zone, I'm just talking in terms of central and mountain. So please check it out if it is something else. I think mountain and Pacific are same, but Eastern, I'll check it out. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Central. So for us, the time remains the same. However, the clock moves from Monday. So please make note of that. And if you join at the regular time, that means you have joined one day early, okay, which I'm sure you would not like to. All right, so let's move on. Seeds of antagonism. Okay, where did this come from? So these seeds were sown, I mean, not sown, but it just panned out. Maybe there was a reason for that. How did it come about? Let's talk about that. So it was ignited by Nicholas Copernicus in 16th century, as we would have read in our history, when he propounded the heliocentric theory of the universe. Okay, sun is at the center of the universe. And it was not very well received. He said it's not the earth, but the sun around which the celestial bodies revolve. He gave that theory. I don't know, he had an aha moment or whatever, something happened. And he propounded that theory around that time. And it was not at all received well by Vatican. It said it's heresy. Okay, it's a religious crime that you are committing. Earth, where we live, is the center of the universe. And it was termed as a heresy. Okay, so much so that he was given a very tough time by the church at that time. I think he was stoned as well down the line. And what happened was that, further down, Giordano Bruno, yeah, he was a philosopher, poet, mathematician, and cosmological theorist as well. And he was sentenced to death for freely mixing science and religion. Okay, he was also sentenced to death. And that power used to be with church at that time. They could declare somebody as a heretic and decide that, okay, this person is no longer eligible to live on this earth because he's causing a disturbance in the society because of their revolutionary views, which may even make people agnostics. Okay, so they had a belief system, and if you don't subscribe to it, you become heretic. So he was, and then Galileo, a century later, he confirmed Copernicus' theory because he did it through his astronomical observations. Now the science is coming in here. And he tried to persuade the Catholic Church not to ban Copernicus' work. However, he was made to abjure, curse, and detest his opinion. He was influenced by church even at that time. Okay. And then over the next 2 centuries, James Bradley, William Herschel, they all came and they were torn between, religion and science divide had already started. Scientists are saying something and religious authorities are saying something else, diametrically opposite. Okay. Now Galileo's theories, they were confirmed through accurate measurements, empirical evidence, like we are talking about in science, of stellar aberration by British astronomer. They also confirmed and corroborated to that. So basically there was a lot of empirical and scientific backing to the observation that it is not Earth but Sun which is at the center of it, right? Planets revolve around it, or things don't revolve around Earth. Okay, so with every empirical evidence, church now had to cede ground. They started adjusting their perspective to become more inclusive. However, these seeds were already sown because there was a wedge that was already created, and it continues today. Okay, so the scientific community continues to look at religious stuff as irrational, illogical, and basically suspicious and apprehensive of scientists, which is religion. Basically, they are saying that you guys don't understand, just believe what we are saying. So a bit of a wedge was given. So this is a brief history of how it all started. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question? Now let's look at the Vedic perspective. Yeah, go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. So just a quick question. So in terms of identifying the sources for descending knowledge, does it have to be just Indian scriptures
No, it's a
or
good question.
Hindus?
No, it's a good question. Now, if I say you said you're taking side of Hinduism and stuff like that, so there is plethora of, see, it would be a very unfair game if everybody has to subscribe to the Sanatan Dharam. Okay, I would not even say Hinduism. Sanatan means something which is eternal. Okay, Vedas are eternal. Hindus do not have a proprietorship for that. Right? Krishna chose to be born in India. Does not mean Krishna is Indian. Okay, he's universal. He's Brahmanda Nayak. Goes beyond caste, creed, nationalities, and other divisions that we have in our mind. Okay. Having said that, Sanatan Dharam is basically Vedas. They came from word's mouth, God's mouth. Okay. So that is the ultimate knowledge. Okay. That is a fact. Okay. We accept it today or tomorrow. That's a fact. And I'm going to talk about some of the Western philosophers, what they have to say about it as well. Maybe not today, but in Monday's session, I'm going to talk about what the Western philosophers or the big philosophers who came in contact with the knowledge of Upanishads and Vedas, what they had to say about it. That's why, we will take those examples and not of what our saints have been telling, because then you'll say you are biased. You're only picking up perspective, which anyway they would say. So Sanatan Dharma is the topmost knowledge. Let's say it's a doctorate knowledge, the ultimate knowledge one has to. Having said that, there are enough masters. Like all other traditions came to the fore because not everybody is ready for the highest message. So based on what they are ready for, God puts them in those traditions so that at least the journey of the soul continues. Okay, so if I'm coming from a very primitive understanding of spiritual concepts, right? For me, just knowing that doing bad things itself is a big message for me, then of course I'm not ready for Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna is not telling Arjun, hey Arjun, you got to be honest and don't steal. Arjun say, are you kidding me? What kind of a message are you giving me? Krishna is talking at a very high level. Who are you? What is the purpose of life? Understand who your true identity is. Understand what is the duty. Understand what is the science of work. So these are higher principles. And people who are not ready for it, probably they need to be told that, okay, stealing is bad, fighting is bad, dishonesty is bad. So that message is also there available, right? If you look at some of the other traditions, there's a lot of emphasis on God fear. If you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen, right? So some people are motivated by that. So, and then there's the next level where you talk about become good, become a noble person, help people, do charity, be supportive of each other and stuff like that. So if you're ready for that message, you'll be born in that tradition. God puts us very strategically based on what lesson is needed for us and what you're ready for. And when you go beyond that, you might get introduced to Sanatan Dharma. And within Sanatan Dharma, there are so many layers, right? I have already spoken about this concept that, where the message of Quran ends, Bible begins. Where message of Bible ends, Bhagavad Gita begins, right? Bible ends at become good. But Bhagavad Gita says good is good, but not good enough. You need to go beyond goodness because that is also binding and it takes you to moksha. Where Bhagavad Gita ends, Bhagavatam begins. It is Kaitav Rahit Dharam. He says, okay, forget about even Dharam, Karam, Arth and Moksha also. Let's get into the depths of Bhakti. Right? And within that, the 10th canto talks about the Brajaras and stuff like that. And where Bhagavatam ends, Chaitanya Charitamrita is there. You want to do doctorate in love and devotion for God, you go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. So there is no level, right? Or Maharajji's Bhakti Shatak is there as well. So all traditions, if you look at the common denominator and all of these is love for God. So it doesn't mean you have to come to Sanatan. Yes, your quest will end at Sanatan Dharam finally. Okay. That is, of course, because that's where the peak of the message is. But if you develop love for God, you can realize God from any tradition. But the fact of the matter is Sanatan Dharam, or the eternal knowledge from Vedas, is the topmost message. There's nothing beyond that. So, and that's why a lot of people whose quest start from whichever traditions they are on, the buck stops finally at the Sanatan. Read a story, Journey Back Home. Radhanath Swami is there. There's so many examples around that. But based on what you're ready for, Krishna is going to put it in that tradition. We didn't choose the family, country, religion, and all that stuff, right? But if you're not ready, we will probably rotate around in some other traditions. And then finally, the buck will stop at this only. So it is said it is one of the graces. We spoke about graces. Graces means becoming human is a grace. Having a spiritual spark and finding a guru is also a grace. Finding a guru is a grace. And having a spiritual thirst is also a grace. And you can add, if you're born in Bharatvarsh, that is also a grace, because you get a privilege of knowing these things early on in life. So you don't need to be convinced Ram existed. Okay, that is a different matter. People will, rather than remembering Ram, they will remember Dhobi only. Okay, but at least we are brought up to those traditions, and these things come naturally to us, worshipping and all that stuff. So it is also a grace. Maharaji said in one of his lectures, if you're actually born in this tradition, that is also a grace. So we should count on that grace and make the most of it. Hope that answers your question. Cool. Now, what is the Vedic perspective? There is no contradiction between science and spirituality. Okay, this is the Vedic perspective, which is what we are going to talk about. Munduk Upanishad says, Dvai Vidya Veditavya Parachaivya Paracha. Basically, it says that two branches of science, material science and spiritual science. Okay, both are valid and bona fide. Okay, this is the Vedic perspective which we are going to explore in our next session more in detail. While material science gives us makes our life, comfortable, and it's like, see, it's like this. If you're traveling from point A to point B in your car, driver not only has to take care of his own health, but also the health of the car. Because if the car breaks down or car doesn't have the required bells and whistles, okay, whatever is needed, not bells and whistles, bare basic minimum things, then it cannot really transport it from point A to point B. So the material science is taking care of the car. How do you take care of the car? Okay, so that your journey continues, which includes our body, the relationships, this whole world. And the spiritual science is taking care of the driver, our soul. What is the technology to conquer anger, bitterness, understanding the higher purpose of life, how to align to that purpose, and how to continue progressing on that path. So both sciences are equally important. You can't say one is not important, the other can be rejected and stuff like that. Both are equally important. If you reject one, you are not doing justice to the creation, because Isha Vasim Idam, God is the veritable form. This world is the veritable form of God. And these sciences are both bona fide and they are there for a reason. When Buddha was doing his, he was searching for enlightenment, he gave up eating food. He gave up eating food and really became emancipated, right? Very weak and all. And then he was sitting one day and he saw some ladies passing by, with the Tanpura. And one of the ladies was singing that don't what you call that, tighten the string too tight, otherwise it will snap, or loose it too loose, otherwise the right chord will, or the note will not come out of it. So Buddha's had an aha moment. He said, wow, what have they said, right? So basically there's a shloka in Bhagavad Gita, yukta viharasya. Basically we have to have a balanced approach in life, right? Neither make it too tight so that it snaps or loose. So we need to have food, we need to have sleep, right? All that stuff has to be balanced in life, and that is where material science comes into picture. And at the same time, what is the food for your soul that it needs to be nourished with? Seva, sadhana, satsang, bhajan, kirtan. Spiritual science will tell you that. Material science does not have answers to that. Okay, so that is where you see some of the biggest atheists of this world. Okay, you go and check out their history. Ayn Rand and quite a few other names come to my mind. Either they became lunatic, or they committed suicide early on in life, or they were a complete mess the rest of their life. No direction, right? They were their own gurus. They were at the mercy of their own intellect, right? Which Krishna is saying, your mind is your worst enemy right now. And they kept on fueling that enemy, and then it doesn't lead you too far. So anyways, we'll discuss more about this topic. So both are bona fide sciences, and then we will talk about Sanatan Dharam aspect of it and the Vedas and what Western philosophers have to say about that, and the limitations of science to drive home the point that we are discussing about. So hopefully it gives us good insights, inputs to take on this topic with confidence, as opposed to feeling as if somebody has tied our hands, because science over, and then that is too much of empowerment there, and we don't know what's going on in spirituality. That's not the case. Okay, so any questions so far on what we have discussed before we proceed further? No questions at all.
I think
Yes.
Yeah, we have one question from Radha Sandhya ji.
Radha Sandhya.
What should be one's approach when there seems some kind of apparent contradiction in the concept posed by material science and spiritual science? For example, theory of evolution. I guess that's what I will stop at.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's suspend it pending further clarification. We don't have to take a stance, right, in order to progress in anything. suspend it in your mind until it becomes clear. So we don't need to get answers all right at once. And then we tap into a bona fide authority and take the word. And if that word is also not reconciling in our head and it's challenging the very basis of our stuff that we have done, then suspend it until it starts making sense, right? We don't have to fight it out immediately, right? If you're going to fight it out immediately, then you're creating confusion, and then you're losing time for your devotion and sadhana at that point. So suspend it if it's not making sense. There's so many questions, right, in our scriptures also, which may not make immediate sense. So let's suspend it pending further understanding and clarification. But I would tap into a bona fide source and get their perspective on it as many times as I want, whenever I can, basically, I mean to say, and take their word on that. Right.
Thank
So we don't need to be in black and white for everything immediately. Let's deal with gray. Life is all about gray until it automatically starts settling down into black and white, and it will happen in due course of time.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji, you might want to talk about that suspicious caller.
Okay, thank you for reminding me. So there is a gentleman named Chirag Gupta. Okay, and if he calls you and gives you a stress call saying that he's in deep trouble and needs money, he's not a one of the bona fide fundraisers, guy from JK Yogs. So just wanted to let you know, don't fall for it. Use your prudence around it, and I would encourage you not to entertain that request, because now that JK Yog is growing big and we have so many sessions, a lot of people are trying to take advantage of it as well. So if they are part of a group and they have gotten contacts, by virtue of being part of one of the groups, and they are reaching out to people and making an emotional appeal as if they are in distress, and giving, don't succumb to emotional blackmail around that. Okay, so if you see, going back to the science of charity, depending upon how your funds get used, you get that result. So getting emotional and paying out stuff. So do check it out. I would say we have admins and coordinators and stuff like that. Before you decide to make up your mind to give somebody money, check out if they have valid credentials. I mean, is it a bona fide person from JKO who's asking for it, or somebody just reaching out and taking advantage of the fact that everybody's willing to help. So just wanted to let you know. And his gentleman's name is Chirag Gupta. Okay, so please watch out for that in case you get a WhatsApp call. Okay, but if you get a WhatsApp call from Urvi, do it with both the hands. Okay, that some of the known faces here. Okay, so just wanted to let you know. Anything else, Rahul?
Yeah, there is one more announcement about Sunday's yoga session, which happens at 9 a.m. CST. So that is streamed online on YouTube also, and I think on the Zoom platform also. So please feel free to join that session.
Yes, please. And the punchline is yoga se hoga. So please join yoga. It is again the material science we are talking about, right? Material science and the spiritual science. We'll talk more about it, but this material science is important to take care of the vehicle that God has given us as a rental. Okay, it's a rental that we are in. So let's take care of the house. See, when we lend our house and the tenant is not taking care of it, we don't feel good, right? Similarly, God has given it, so we need to deal with it responsibly. And yoga is one of the ways to take care and maintain this vehicle or this body, so that the journey of our soul continues without many distractions, related to our body and ailments, especially as we keep growing old. Yes, Rahul.
Yeah, there is an interesting comment in the chat from Surendraji that such vivid, thorough study of laws and lawmaker leaves us spellbound for any question. Wow, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Surendraji. So we'll go more deeper. We've just started on this topic. It's a very fascinating topic, right? I mean, we keep coming across it. We'll go more deeper next week, especially looking at what Western philosophers have to say about this concept, because unless we hear from, it is vetted with, Western philosophers, we think, okay, no, it doesn't make sense, kind of a deal. So that is why Swamiji, he picks up those examples so that we say, okay, it's not just us. Okay, even the big darshaniks, historians who have come across this profound piece of knowledge, they have been blown away by it. And Germany, people are actually learning Sanskrit so that they can get the true import of Sanatan Dharam. They don't want to get lost in translation where it's from Sanskrit to English to German and stuff like that. Let's read it so that we can get the true import of it. That is how profound these are. Just imagine this knowledge, right? It's a manual for your life. And you don't have to second guess yourself. It's like written and that's it. It is a truth. If you get access to this knowledge and you understand it, you come across a guru, I mean, what else is needed? You just, the puzzle of life starts getting solved at that point. So for humanity at large, not just related to any caste, creed, nation, or Brahman for that matter, this is a very, what do you call that, treasure chest of knowledge in our scriptures that we have access to. And everybody can take advantage of that, especially if they are ready for that message. And that is why it doesn't matter which tradition you are on. If you are on the path of love for God, one step will lead you to another, to another, to another, until your buck will stop at Sanatan Dharam, because that's where you will find the deepest and the most profound knowledge that one can, one needs to know. There's nothing to be known after that, right? Even Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that I'm telling you the most secret knowledge. And after this, there's nothing more to be known. So that is the importance of this knowledge. Yes, Sri Ramya.
Radhe Radhe, Shri Ramya ji.
Radhe, everyone. So, like you said that if you have love for God, it will ultimately lead to Sanatan Dharma, where you get the deepest knowledge. So, my question is, do we really need that knowledge? Is love for God not enough?
Love for God is enough, but in order to reach that stage, it takes a lot of mental gymnastics, right? To convince ourselves. So, but if you have love for God because of your past sanskars, that is more than enough. You don't need knowledge. Knowledge is a byproduct of devotion. You don't even need to read scriptures. It will get revealed in your heart by God. So love for God is good enough. If you have love for God, nothing else is needed, right? Kabir Das Duha, पोथी पढ़ पढ़ जग मुआ पंडित भय न कोय बने न कोय ढाई अक्षर प्रेम के पढ़े सो पंडित होए. So if you've understood love for God, nothing else is needed. You're already serving the purpose of the Vedas. Yeah. Yes, Rahul. Okay, we have, I think, yes, go ahead, please.
So I just wanted to reiterate about the feedback tracker, that please fill out the feedback tracker and put your queries also if you have some other further questions about the topic which is going on right now about science and spirituality. So,
yes, please put in your questions so that we can take it during the sessions, okay? Or I could tailor my presentation around that. Fill out the feedback tracker, that will be good. And Sandhya, over to you. I think we wanted to talk about the teams here. So one thing I want to say, I really want to congratulate and thank the Seva teams. They are being full force. As you saw how outstanding presentations we have had from Shyamji and Urvi and Sri Ramya. Plus they have been in overdrive mode, and I sometimes check out, most of the activity that happens on Insta and Facebook and other places is from people on these teams. So that is an outstanding work. And like Swamiji explains, when you start doing, see, if you limit yourself to sadhana alone, right, you will still not become selfless. You will still have selfish sanskars. Okay, so the only way to become selfless is by doing seva. And that's when you are aligning to becoming Nitya Das, that principle of being serving God. If you don't have serving sanskars, then again, that selfishness will not go away. And that seva could be a small thing, but pick it up. With that, I would like to hand it over to Sandhya to see how our teams are faring and see if anybody else wants to sign up. We have getting, after Shyamji's presentation, we got so many people who came forward, you want to do seva. After Uruvi presentation, Sri Ramya's presentation. So I think this is another way to look at it, how our teams are faring. So over to you, Sandhya, to talk about it.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. So these are our 4 teams. They're all doing excellently well. Before talking about the scores, I just wanted to mention that we have a community portal. For those of you who may not know, it's a closed social kind of media or social group, so where all of us can interact. And we keep posting all the class announcements, class summary, as well as different engaging action items of the week over there. So Rahulji will share the link of the community portal, and please check that out. In fact, all the presentations of different Seva teams are also up there on the community portal. So that's one thing. Now, yes, we have 4 teams and all of them have been just doing amazing. And these scores are just there. But more importantly, I feel all the 4 teams have developed very good group bonding. And, in the course of preparing for the presentations, I'm sure all of them have had like fun and learn a good experience for learning. And we have had also a lot of fun and bliss in attending these wonderful, wonderful team presentations. And yeah, that's it. This is the scoreboard right now. Cheers to Ananya team, she led by Shri Ramya ji. They are leading right now, and then Enthusiastic, who's going to come up with the next presentation, right? Nitinji, when is that presentation?
Yes, I think we're going to probably do it next Friday. We'll work
Friday.
out with the team
Okay.
captain. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So really looking forward to that, Monica ji. And selfless team, like Chamji was saying, right? We are not here for scores, but see, they are also competing very nicely. And Vinamra, they are like just a couple of points away. So yeah, I guess this will completely get overturned and these will keep moving here and there.
Yeah, more than the scores, I think it's the enthusiasm. As I see, everybody's getting into a rhythm, so which is fantastic. And let's do more of that. And it's amazing. Just can't thank you guys enough. And let's continue to work. It's
yeah,
a race. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, one more thing, like we had kept like very tiny scores per Seva activity, and they've all crossed 1200, 1300. That means they are doing things consistently and regularly, which is like such a big thing. And I really appreciate that.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, thank you so much.
Yeah, and it's your own race, okay? Don't compare. Basically, it's your own race, like a mountaineer, right? You're just competing with yourself. And if you keep that spirit, that's more than enough, and getting into the rhythm of Seva. I'd love to hear from you how it's helping you as well. Yes, Prabhat?
Yeah, there are
Yeah, just one more thing. If anyone else is interested in joining any of the Seva teams, please put it in the feedback tracker. All the leaders would love to have more people in the team, and you will enjoy the bliss of doing Seva for sure. So yeah.
Right. And one of the biggest Sevas you can do in addition for this, all the content and stuff, is getting your friends, family, and other people inspired on this path. Get them to the sessions, make a hook, with the Swamiji. If we can make that hook, that will be the best Seva we can do. So get your friends, family, get them somehow. That will be a huge Seva. If we can make that hook, get them to Swamiji, there's no better Seva we can do for the purpose for which these sessions are designed to begin with. Yes, Prabhat, you wanted to say something? Do we have? Yes, we have 2 minutes.
So yeah, it's just regarding this scorecard. Actually, I was just looking at this scorecard and I just found that there is one score like 938 for sharing. So I just want to understand, like, for 938 for sharing by Anita ji in Ananya team. So I'm just looking at it. So I want to know about it.
Okay, our scorekeepers, please do clarify the doubt of Prabhat. It's a very valid question. So let's make sure we are all doing it consistently and everybody understands the rationale behind, certain schools. Again, attention. Okay, don't miss out. Next week, 1 hour early, you need to give up your sleep an hour early. If you're in India and here in US, you can align to the central time. Okay, that's the time is changing from next week. All right, with that, okay, any other questions? We still have 2 minutes. Let's utilize the time. If somebody has any question or wanted to say anything, 1 minute.
I just wanted to reiterate, don't forget about the Fulo Ki Holi and the Holi Fest, which is coming up tomorrow.
Yes, we look forward to seeing you at the temple, and you can always join virtually as well if you're not able to make it. Great.
And those who come in person to the temple can also enjoy the special Pani Puri.
Pani Puri, yes. Don't miss out on that. Okay, that's a marquee event basically. And if you want to join us for Houston, please do sign up. We'll find some way to transport you there. Okay.
And that Pani Puri stall is Krishnamay Pani Puri. So remember that.
Yeah. Jaisa and Vaisa Man, Jaisa Pani, Vaisi Vani. So that Pani, after having that Pani, you can realize that. Great. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend. Over to you, Sunil Bhai and Ajay.
Thank you, Nitin Bhai. Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you.